Let Me Tell You a Story is a product of Carolina Storyteller, starring Jonathan Phoenix, written, produced, and directed by Jonathan Phoenix, edited and recorded by Jonathan Phoenix, and horribly marketed by Jonathan Phoenix. Man, I gotta hire a staff. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/Carolina Storyteller and subscribe to get exclusive content and all kinds of other neat stuff. We even have merchandise coming. Anyway, sit back and enjoy the show. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the show. This is Jonathan Phoenix, the Carolina Storyteller. Just before I get into everything, this week's show, I did an interview with a good friend of mine, the demon folklorist Victoria Jaye, and there were some audio issues and technical difficulties. They'll come up throughout. My audio kind of sucked, but hers was great. I don't know what the cause of that was, but I wanted to give you a fair warning so that while you're listening, if you hear the blips, it was the best I could get done with what I had at the time, but we're going to try and do better in the future. So sit back and enjoy. Here is me talking haunts with the demon folklorist Victoria Jaye. Welcome back, folks. It's been another week, and I hope you guys have had a good one. I am Jonathan Phoenix, Carolina Storyteller. Thank you for joining me here today. Today, I've got a special treat for you. I've got my very good friend and author, Victoria Jaye, otherwise known as the demon folklorist. We're going to talk about her book that's coming out, and we're going to talk about classifications of demons and what a demon folklorist is. Victoria, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So you have a book coming out in October. Now, it says you've said around Halloween. Is that the release date, Halloween, or is it going to be sometime in October?
I'm going to be honest, I'm not super sure. I was told sometime around Halloween, but just October for now. There will be more details actually coming a little bit later this week.
Having previously published a book, I can tell you more details come the closer the day gets, but you never have all the details until right when it's about to happen, and then you're scrambling to try and get things done because, you know, at the last minute. I was expecting my book in September of 2021. I think it was 2021, first book. And I swear it was like, okay, is it the first week of September? The second week? It's the it's the second to last day of September. Second to last day. Oh my God, I gotta like send out links and everything. And okay, here. But,
yeah, that sounds right.
It's kind of like delivering a baby. When it happens, you're like, oh no, it's here.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Grab some towels.
Yeah, I pretty much expect that sort of thing. I've been told enough, but yeah, once it comes, I'm sure it's going to be like, let's move.
Yes. Now, you are the demon folklorist. And a lot of people probably don't know what that means. So for my listeners, would you let them know what is a demon folklorist?
Sure. So a demonic folklorist, I just call myself the demon folklorist because it's my branding. But a demonic folklorist is someone who specializes in demonic narratives, experiences, and phenomena. That's just how I define my research parameters. If someone else heard about my work and was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a demonic folklorist too, which I'm hoping will happen someday because I'm sadly the only one, then they could define it however they want to. It's just somebody who looks at demonic folklore. Because really, everything about demons, as far as we know, is folklore, not just because I can't sit here and prove to you that demons are real, it's a belief thing, but also because there's so much that happens in the process of the paranormal where information is presented and then it gets grown and changed by the public that consumes it. So that's how I define demon folklore and what I do. I look at different cases and try to evaluate them based off are they demonic or not. And I did classification work for my thesis on different types of demonic phenomena based on sight, sound, smell, and feeling.
Okay, so you're the only one, but you're looking forward to there being more demon folklorists. How's it going to feel when it finally happens and you get to start saying, I'm the first demon folklorist?
I mean, okay. It's a good question. I have mixed feelings about it because I was the first, it was very difficult. And this is going to sound so big-headed.
You're breaking ground on something, which is awesome.
Right. I mean, when you're the pioneer, which sounds really conceited, but when you start something new, it's very difficult for you in the beginning. You have to basically forge your own path. But I hope that if there are any more demonic folklorists in the future, that they'll reach out, because I have so much I can tell them, I can point them in the right directions, because I had to go it alone. So that's what I'm hoping for, that they'll reach out.
Well, yeah, because, in most other areas of folklore, somebody's already written the book. But in demonic folklore, nobody's written a book yet until you. What's the Black Hours going to be about?
So it will be a guide to demonic phenomena specifically. This won't really be about narratives, except for about the patterns that I've seen in the narratives, to explain these are the things that I look for in a demonic infestation, because I think there are a lot of books out there actually about the narratives themselves and what these people felt and all that sort of thing. Now, my system does incorporate parts of that, it'll be Sight seeing a dark figure, right? And there'll be subsects was it 3 feet tall? Was it above 5 feet tall? Was it, that sort of thing? And then it'll have a bullet point oh, Linda saw a figure that was over 5 feet tall standing in her living room, with the citation of where I got it. So sort of a mix.
And that's going to be really good for anyone who actually wants to get into this field, or even for people who may be thinking that they're dealing with demonic entities, correct? Because it's going to give them some information that's going to be much needed. Because one of the things we've talked about before is sometimes people think it's demonic, but it's really not.
It happens a lot more than you'd imagine, because I feel like paranormal TV is partially to blame, and so is Hollywood. That they're just pushing the demon narrative, that there's a demon behind every corner waiting for every Christian. And it's no, they're actually very rare. All the cases that are talked about are generally about 15, 20 cases from the last 70 years. People don't really even look at demons from antiquity except for in academia. So, we're all working kind of from the same dog-eared script. And these cases are pretty bad, some of them, but they're rare. And I want to stress that to everybody, that they are so rare that 9 times out of 10, you are not dealing with a demon. It is something else. I can almost guarantee it. Now, Every now and then we get something, right? I've had 1 out of the hundreds of people who have contacted me after my thesis was published online. People actually mildly stalked me to talk to me because my website wasn't up. And, but most of the time people are looking for deliverance or an exorcism of some kind, and I cannot help them. That's not what I do.
Yeah, very important. She does not do the exorcism. She does the research. Please don't go to her asking for her to get rid of it. She's not going to. It's not going to work. Okay, people? Seriously.
Nope. It happens a lot. They assume that because I work in demonology that that's also what I do. And it's no, I'm sort of a different branch of demonology. Not that I'm afraid of these places or going in there. I think my abilities as a psychic would affect me too much, and I'd just be a hindrance.
That's right, because that was the next thing I was going to lead into, is you are a geomantic psychic, correct? And you get clairaudience as well?
Mm-hmm. I have a couple different things. I don't have the list in front of me, but
It's okay.
I have a little bit of everything except clairvoyance. Sight is not one of my abilities. My mom has that one a little bit. That doesn't mean I've never seen anything. I actually saw something semi-recently, and then I saw something at Warwick Castle in England. And we have a bit of like family lore going on there. You listen to my podcast, so you know about that.
Oh, I know all about that.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I want to add is the Demon Folklorist has her own podcast. So after you're done listening to me, you can go listen to the Folklorist and get a lot of really good information on a lot of stuff paranormal. And listening to you, especially because you bring on your family and your sister a lot, and you guys have a really great dynamic. There's a lot of analysis and information that you guys kind of throw back and forth, which is really great.
We like to think about things very deeply in my family.
Yes, you really do, and I think that's really great. And the thing with doing all this research and everything, you're kind of you might not be the go-to person to get something taken care of, but if someone has experienced something a little wonky, they could ask you about it, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And I do that as well. I recently had somebody, because I posted on all my social media, like, hey, before you contact me, I need you to know that I'm not an exorcist. This is not what I do. I can offer you information. That's it. And somebody did reach out and was like, hey, I know you're not an exorcism, but I am looking for, or exorcist rather, but I am looking for information. And I was like, oh, absolutely. I am your girl. And it sounded more like a jinn intrusion than anything demonic. So I started giving them different resources that I knew of and helping them that way. That's the way that I feel I'm meant to impart what I know, by sharing my knowledge.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. And that's a great way to be helping people, and helping people is always a good thing to do.
What I set out to do.
That's kind of what my segue is in for this episode. I really wanted to pick your brain about a couple of my episodes that I know you've heard. The first being my story, Storm on the Demon Road, which, of course, is an actual event that happened to me.
You may have to remind me of this one. This one doesn't sound as familiar.
So this is when I went out with a few friends in my car, backed my car up and parked it there, and we were waiting to see this creature that was supposed to only be visible in the mirrors. And it actually got up on the car. We're freaking terrified.
Wow.
And my car kind of just cranked itself up and took off. And literally got us out of there when we thought this thing was about to get into the car and kill us.
Right.
And a couple of the things that I remember is that it was kind of a black form, but once it got to the back of the car, I could actually see red eyes. It really didn't have fingers. It had like long talon things, but they were literally just looked like shadow. And of course, I'm turning around trying to see just, I don't know why, when I knew that we were only supposed to see it in the mirror. I'm in the driver's seat, completely turned around, trying to see where the thing is on the trunk, because everybody's freaking out and I'm freaking out. And so that's one of the classifications that you had told me that actually qualified with a demon is just the pure terror. So what do you think? You think we're dealing with a demon there? You think we had run into something else?
Well, I guess I'm going to have to ask questions about that, because it's not just terror, because I think any entity that you just kind of like come upon can terrify you. Did you feel you were in the presence of evil?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then it probably was. That's the big one. Now, other things, yes. Like, how big was it? Was it above 5 feet tall?
I would roughly say that it was about 5 feet tall.
Okay.
Very spindly, very, very long, slender form. If it had bones, the blackness that it was would have just been clung straight to them. Just kind of adding some edges to them. That's it. There was no real girth to the form. Very sharp and angular.
What
and
about
it moved creepily? Best way to say it.
Interesting. So for some reason, I keep getting from my clairaudience, skinwalker. I haven't done as much research into skinwalkers, although I think I may have seen one recently here in Mexico. But I don't know, like sometimes I get told things and I'm just supposed to look into them deeper. Maybe that'll be like my 7th book, because I have like a couple planned out. Like there's a Jinn book, a Dybbuk book, just doing different classification of different things.
When you're a writer, the books just kind of stack up. I've got like 4 or 5 that are kind of sitting in my to write file. So I feel you there.
Absolutely. You know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
So, the form itself doesn't sound demonic to me. But we got to remember, like, with what, like, skinwalkers are supposedly, right? It was like a magician or a sorcerer who just went down the dark path, right? At least from what I remember. And they are essentially consumed by their own evil. And so it could be that you're sensing as well. Did you feel malice from this thing? Like it wanted to kill you?
We felt like it was trying to get in there and slaughter us. Okay. That is exactly how we felt. We didn't feel it at first, like, because I mean, we watched this thing approach we were stupid when we sat there while this thing approached. The smart thing would have been to crank the car up and leave the second we saw it and be like, okay, it was there. No, right. We waited like all the way to the car after traveling for 300 yards. And by the time it got there, we felt like this thing was trying to get in and rip us to shreds.
Okay.
And there wasn't one of us that didn't feel that.
Mm-hmm. What about other phenomena? Anything else happen?
Other than the car starting itself and taking off, no. It was a very quiet evening. I remember the sky was clear. We had great moonlight on this dirt road. And of course, Old Gun Church is 200 yards to our right. So we were right next to Old Gun Church, and we were right next to the cemetery out there and everything. We were back down this road. And it took a few minutes, but we saw this thing kind of slinking behind trees at first. And then it kind of just came out into the road, and then it made its way out to the car, and we were freaking out and screaming. But I don't remember smelling anything. But of course, I was locked in a car, and I didn't hear anything. But of course, we were all locked in a car.
Right.
So there could have been noise and sense outside that didn't get into the car. But it was what we saw and what we felt that really defined that experience for me and for the rest of them.
Now, there are experiences with demons where they're much shorter. Like higher in the hierarchy of demons, they're going to be much bigger, like above 5 feet tall, 7 to 9 feet generally.
Yeah.
But there are smaller ones. There are even ones that are like 3 feet tall, like a kid, or smaller than that too, like 2 feet. This doesn't sound demonic, but I can't explain right now why. Like later, if you want me to do like a post or something for you, breaking it down, like I'd be happy to do that, because then I can get my thoughts in order. But it's not ringing the bells for me, or all the bells rather.
But that's the thing. That's the thing that I wanted everybody to see, and that I wanted to see, is that sometimes we think these things are demonic. They're really not. Granted, me and my friends were really terrified. But I wanted to get the facts from you, because I've always wondered. And like, there is another place called Strawberry Chapel. I've never had an experience there because I refuse to go in there. Because when I get there, it feels heavy and evil, and just there's something there that does not want me there, that does not like me, that will hurt me. There's sounds that I hear. I swear I see things moving from just outside. Like I can't make out what it is, but it's almost like yeah, come in and I'm gonna get you. And I'm like, no, I'm not going in there. You guys go on in if you want. I want to live.
So that's the difference between
exactly
terror and knowing that it's demonic. Because demonic is a different level of evil. Because it's not like evil, if you really think about it, just means unfriendly to humans, right?
Right.
Demons in their folklore and in their narrative seem to hate humanity. Now, there are a ton of reasons why that could be.
Well, I mean, we are kind of pompous jerks sometimes. We could have just done a bad deal back in the day, and they're just mad about it. You still there? Hello? Hello? So as you can tell, there was a little bit of a technical hiccup here. We lost contact. So there was a little bit of the conversation that got lost because of technical difficulties. But very quickly, we got right back on it, and we finished out strong, I think. So you guys can hear the rest. Just explaining, little technical difficulty. Kind of happens when you're recording with Spotify's thing. But I'm going to be working on finding a different way to record now because of it. Okay, we're back?
Yep, we're back. Sorry about that. That was totally on me.
No, it's okay. Sorry. It's okay. We're back. So as you were saying, that there is a big difference between the two phenomenon, and it's understanding that difference that's really it really helps you determine what you're actually dealing with out there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the way that you determine that is really listen to yourself, listen to your body, because what your body is telling you every time you're around, is it called Strawberry Chapel?
Yes.
Okay. Every time you are there, it is telling you don't go inside because something dangerous is waiting for you there. That's really the difference between this and what happened in the car at, you said Old Gun Hill?
Old Gun Church.
Old Gun Church. I'm not very good with
Lots
names.
of old churches in South Carolina.
Fair. So you having that experience, when you walked out there, or rather you didn't walk, you drove. When you drove out there, did you feel any evil, or was it when it got up to the car?
It was when it got up to the car.
Okay. Demons sort of emanate that malice from as far away as it takes for your body to pick up on it. So most likely, everything's telling me that's not a demon, but that it is evil, that it meant to do you harm. So not the best idea for anybody who wants to go there.
No, I would not recommend replaying any of my travels to anybody, anywhere, anytime. Don't do it. Don't. I
you
was
already
that
did
white
it.
guy. I'm no longer that white. Please don't be that white. Please just don't.
You know someone's going to do it.
Oh, people are still doing it to this day. I guarantee you. It's what we used to do where I grew up, is go to these places and challenge these things and see if we can survive. Because I guess that's the thing teenagers do when they grow up in a place like Georgetown and Charleston, South Carolina. Is they go, oh, there's a ghost over there. I'm going to go poke it with a stick.
Yeah, that sounds right. I grew up, well, for a little while, because I grew up in a lot of different places. In Montana, we had the most amount of folklore, and this was like pre-internet. But it was more, we were inventing folklore at the same time while building on the original stories. And we went to go investigate, of course, but we never found anything because we were 8. So, yeah, that's how I got into early paranormal investigating, although I'm not a paranormal investigator now.
Yeah, at the young age, it's a lot harder to get into the trouble you can get into when you're a teenager.
That's fair.
You can go and find these dangerous places that the 8-year-old can't get to yet. Fair. But still, you're out there trying to find it, and that's just bad enough. But that's how kids are. Well, Victoria, I want to thank you so much for being with me today. We're running out of time, so I'm going to let you go.
All right.
Thank you so much for being with me today. The new book, The Black Hours, is coming out in October, sometime in October. Be on the look for it. Demon Folklorist. Is it demonfolklorist.com? I can't remember. Demonfolklorist.com. That's her website. Links to the podcast. Give it a listen. It's a great podcast. Great having you here, Victoria. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
That's our episode for this week, folks. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I really do want to apologize again for the technical difficulties that we did have in recording it. I'm going to have to end up looking for a newer type of recording software, and I will get right on that. but I do appreciate you guys for being here. I want to thank Victoria Jaye for coming in and talking with me. Remember to go and check out her book that comes out in October, The Black Hours, or look her up as The Demon Folklorist. She's the only one. She's easy to find. DemonFolklorist.com. Always remember to go to patreon.com/Carolina Storyteller to support the podcast. And you can go to Amazon.com, look up Jonathan Phoenix, and find books by me. Redcoats and Through the Flames are out now. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.